Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the YieldMax ETF underlying stocks. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so we don't usually cover this one as often as crypto lately. We told you guys this a long time ago on this channel that we were going to slowly transition towards talking about crypto as things started to heat up. So shouldn't come as a surprise to long-term viewers. But anyways, so on Apple here, we have a golden cross on the MACD, we have a golden cross on the RSI, and we do have break at this trend line, so that's very bullish for Apple. It's not within the resistance zone yet, so in my opinion, I do think Apple / Apply, the YieldMax version, is going to go much higher from here. That's just my opinion. So the support here on Apple would be about $180, and the resistance would be 194 to 200. So Apple was getting dumped by a lot of people. I believe even Warren Buffett dumped some of Berkshire shares, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere, but don't quote me on that. But then Apple came out and said they're doing like some historic $100 billion stock buyback or something like that because they missed the AI race. So naturally, as you guys can see, the share price went up. So of course, if they're buying back shares off the market, less shares that investors can buy, which means that inevitably the price of the stock is going to go up. So the price action is actually reflecting that. Okay, so C3 AI, it does look like we're getting a shift in the momentum on the MACD, so we might be about ready to get a golden cross here soon. That's very bullish. Again, as of right now, I would still say that the current supports can be down here, so about 1050 to 15, maybe even as high as 17. Maybe even as high as 20 and a half or so. But this current level right here, until we get a pop above it, is resistance, which is 2361 to about 2850. Actually, if I go back to Apple, I'll give you guys the measurement on this real quick. So from the current price to the high up here is going to be about 5%. And then from the roughly about the trend line to the high is going to be about 9%. So with C3 AI, based on the technicals here, I would suspect that AI YY is probably going to have a bit of a pullback, and the stock also. At best case scenario, it pulls back to maybe the bottom of the zone here at about $23, $24, and then maybe even as low as roughly about 21. But we'll just have to wait and see. So from 21 to the top of the zone, about 38% move, and from let's say the bottom of the zone to the top of the zone, even though this is technically resistance, it would be about a 20% move. So ARKK, this one's not doing much. Again, it's kind of stuck in this channel thing right here. So you can kind of see that the price is bobbing off of this thing slowly but surely over time. So as of right now, it is holding a support. So I'd say that's very bullish. We just need to get above the EMAs, which we're not yet. No definitive signs of any bullishness on the indicators yet. I know this looks like it's going to have a golden cross, but I'm not actually seeing this purple line move upwards. It's kind of moving sideways, so that's why I say that. So support on this one as of right now is going to be about $43. Resistance is 50 to about 54. So if I just take the measured move from that trend line to the resistance up here, about 22% move. I would say likely OARC is probably going to head a little bit higher in the coming days and weeks based on what I'm seeing right here. That's just my opinion, of course. So AMZN, also AMZY. So you guys can see we kind of have a potential double and or triple top formation here. So you have one top, two tops back during 2021, and then three as of right here. Does it mean it has to dump? No, but that is a heavy bearish technical pattern. There's going to be a lot of traders that are looking at this thing, either day trading or swing trading this, and looking at the weekly saying, this looks like a major sell zone because the last time that this thing sold off, we had some huge downside swings. So they're going to be looking at this, trying to short this. I'm just going to be real with y'all. So we do have kind of overbought on the RSI here, and also a death cross on the two indicators. It is still above the EMA, so maybe it could pull back as low as this bottom EMA here, 156, or even down to the trend line at 143. So I expect coming discounts on AMZY in the coming weeks. Just to show you guys what that would look like. I don't know that it's going to go this low, but again, this is the risk here. So 15% and as much as 21% down on AMZN and AMZY. So Coinbase, this one is actually looking quite bullish. Again, the spot Ether ETF news, as we told you guys in the previous video, is absolutely pumping the price of anything crypto related. Coinbase, MSTY, or Coney, MSTY, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, all of the basically anything that's an altcoin. Even Bitcoin went up on this news, so very bullish. There is the MACD death cross and the RSI death cross here, but you can see that the histogram is starting to shift back towards the green. And if this thing closes the week above this trend line, that would be the third confirmed breakout, as you guys can see here. So as of right now, I would say this is still going to be support. So 210 to 227, resistance all the way up here at 308 to about 370. Of course, we have our local top at 286. In my opinion, I think Coney likely is going to go much higher in the coming weeks. These are your targets here. So 27, 35, and 63% respectively if you were wanting to trade or buy Coinbase. So again, I do think Coinbase and Coney are going to go up in the coming days and weeks because we showed you guys all the spot Ether ETF deadlines. They range at any time from a few days from now to a few months from now. So over the next 3 months, I do expect Coney and Coinbase to go up based on the spot Ether ETF potential approval news. So DSO, kind of in no man's land. I'm not bullish or bearish on this one, although we do have a MACD death cross and a RSI death cross, and the price is moving down. Again, because it hasn't really given a confirmation bounce or drop from the EMAs, and we are in between the ranges. So personally, I wouldn't touch this one. If I was going to, I would just DCA down is what I would do. I would not be bulk buying at this level right here because, again, the risk is pretty high. So you guys can do what you want to with your own money. I'm just telling you guys what I would do. So 24% here, potential drop on the price. If it does go back up, I mean, it could go up pretty much about the equal amount. So again, I personally would not be touching this one. So Google, this one's looking very bullish. Again, they came out and they pretty much said that they were going to go bullish on the whole AI narrative. And as you guys know, any company that says anything about AI, NVIDIA is a good example of that, automatically starts pumping. So that's pretty much what we're seeing here. It's at all-time highs. If I'm being completely honest, I do think it's going to go higher. So if I do a fib retracement here, which is something I usually don't do, but if I do one, so you guys can see, just to get to the next fib level, it'd be all the way up at $194. So that's a pretty big move. It would not surprise me if this thing went up to $200 and then got rejected because, again, that's a major psychological level. Any big even number like 200, 220, 250, 300, that's going to be major potential resistance because it's just a psychological thing. People are going to be looking at that thinking like, ooh, it's at $200. Let me go short it. I know it sounds silly, but that's how traders think. So if I take the measured move from the current price back down to the trend line where this thing kind of bounced off of, as you guys can, well, maybe you can't see it, but you will in a minute. It's about 16.5% drop. So it kind of bounced off this trend line and these EMAs here, bounced off the trend line back here. Bounced off the trend line way back here at the start. So there is some risk to the downside because it's hard to predict price discovery. If I was going to play this, me personally, I would just DCA down as it comes down. I would not be buying as it goes up. I'd buy something else instead. That's just me. So JP Morgan, this thing's looking a little shaky, not bullish, not bearish, but the two indicators here are kind of signaling maybe there might be a reversal to the downside. We'll just have to wait and see on that, but you guys can see it has been running up for quite some time, and it showed a little weakness here, then went a little higher. Now we have this big red candle that tells me that the momentum is probably slowing to the upside. So I am kind of expecting the pullback on this one. I'd say this one's a little bit more bearish. So again, the pullback could be as steep as 14.5%. Support's going to be 168 to 174, and the all-time high is at 205. Meta, kind of a similar thing, although not as I would say not as weak looking as JP Morgan, but again, it does look a little sketchy. So it could potentially come back down to the support between 350 and 385 before getting a bounce. And the all-time high, as you guys know, is up here at 530. So again, Meta is paying a dividend. I forget which other companies it was. I want to say Google and Amazon. I can't remember exactly, but they all came out and said they were paying dividends. So that's great. But again, the drop here could be 26%. So perhaps maybe a DCA strategy on the way down. But that part's up to you. So MSFT, this thing is at all-time highs. It's currently testing the high. Me personally, because this could possibly maybe turn into a double top here, kind of like back here. As you guys can see, I would not touch this one. I would wait for a retracement back into this trend line before I started buying. That's just kind of me. But as of right now, the current all-time high is 432. The trend line currently sits roughly about 390, and then below that, 350 to about 370 on the support. So just to get a pullback into the trend lines, about an 8% drop, and then even lower than that, you'd be looking at about 13.5 to an 18% drop. But on the flip side, if it gets down to the trend line, say for example, and it goes up about 10%, and then from the bottom of the support, let's say, to the top, about 23% on that. So Moderna, this one actually really looks opposite the previous one. So this is very bullish. You can see the RSI is pointing up. The EMAs here on the RSI are actually pointing up. The EMA indicators on the MACD are pointing up. We had two golden crosses here. The histogram is green. We got a bullish breakout of this kind of channel and the trend line and this flat top potential inverse head and shoulders pattern here, which the target's all the way up here at 166. And the EMAs are all crossing into a triple golden cross. So this one is very bullish looking. I suspect it's going to push at least up here to this target, maybe even all the way up to resistance. So that'd be 180 to about 218. Again, the current price is at 140. So you'd be looking at about 18.5%, 29%, and 56% respectively. Again, the top of the support, which it could come back down to, but based on everything I'm seeing here, it's probably not going to happen. That'd be about $95. So I'm going to keep going on down on the list here. So MSTR had a nice recovery. It's looking very bullish now. Again, we are getting close to the top of this previous candle high up here, 1784. Based on this price action, I would say MSTR is probably just going to snap straight through it and go straight to the moon. That's pretty much what this is looking like. You don't get a big aggressive move like this. You know, what is a $600 move, 33% move in 2 weeks, and then it just fails. That usually doesn't happen when something this strong happens. You guys can kind of see what happened here. We got these big fat green candles right into support, and then boom, it just absolutely exploded out of that resistance area there. So as of right now, I'd say this one's very bullish. Support's pretty much going to sit down here at 1150-ish, somewhere in there. So from the swing high to that level, about 50% drop, which we already saw. From the current price to that level, about 42% drop. And again, if I were to do the Fibonacci retracement on this from the swing high to the swing low, which we do now have, the next potential level we'd be looking at above the previous all-time high would be as high as $2,600 per share. And that is a massive move up. So let me actually measure that. So yeah, that's almost a 50% move to the upside. And again, based on the spot Ether ETF news, I would say that this likely is going to happen in my opinion. So Netflix, this one does actually look, well, it looks a little iffy. So I would say it still looks pretty bullish because again, this candle is pushing above these previous highs here, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. We need a candle close confirmation on the week. So as of right now, 570, I would say, yeah, roughly about 570 is going to be support, and you'd be looking for a target of about $700. So from here back down to that level as support, it's about 10% drop. And then from that level to the basically to the all-time high, 21%, and then from the current level to let's see, the all-time high about 9.5%. So I would say that NFL NFLX, Netflix, whatever you want to call it. It does actually look very bullish in my opinion. I do think this one's going to go higher. Whether it's going to break the all-time highs or not, I don't know. Nvidia, so I was actually kind of expecting a bigger pullback than this. We may still get it. You can see we got this wick here, like these ones back here, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I still reiterate my stance that I think that Nvidia will be the kingmaker of the tech companies because, again, it is the AI chip company. So as of right now, it is very bullish looking. I would say support's going to be down here at 760. So again, the pullback from here to support would be about 20% move. But again, if it snaps out of here, I mean, sky's the limit. We're talking about AI here. AI hasn't really even been priced into the markets yet, in my opinion. So PayPal, this one's looking very bullish. You can see it's kind of curling up here, getting ready to move to the upside, although quite a bit slower than Moderna, in my opinion. We're above break even on the MACD, above break even on the RSI. So I would say support's pretty much going to be at these EMAs, so maybe $1 lower than the current price. The target's going to be at $83. So the move on this thing would be huge, 29%. I would say PYPL is looking pretty good. It's looking very bullish at this point. Square, this one is still, well, not bullish nor bearish. It's just kind of chopping around a little bit. So I would say likely if it pulls back, it's going to come back down to support. So 41.50 to 55, and then the target would be up here at 76. So again, for this one, I'd be waiting for probably a pullback, most likely, unless I see the direction change. So 43% move down. And then from that support to the kind of the trend line up there, about 85% move. Tesla, so we do actually have a MACD golden cross on the weekly time frame. We showed you this on the daily before. Last time we had one of these, it was kind of back here somewhere, and we went up for roughly about 6 months. So you guys can do with that what you want to do, but it does look very bullish. Again, we almost hit oversold, and we got a RSI golden cross. So as of right now, support is still sitting along this trend line, so about 160, I would say, and then the target's going to be 205 to about 216. So from right here to the trend line, about 10% drop, and then from the trend line all the way up to the resistance zone, about 38% move. ExxonMobil, this one is a little sketchy. It does look bullish on these indicators here, but again, I mean, we did make an all-time high here, but it does look like maybe the bears are kind of wanting to try to stop this at the previous all-time high. If that happens, there could be a potential significant pullback. It could go all the way down to 110. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. But from that level to the swing high, or the all-time high, I should say, it'd be about a 13% move. However, if we pull back from here to the EMAs, about an 8% move. If I was going to get this, I'd DCA down. I mean, the drop is not so substantial to where I would not be willing to touch it, but I would not be buying all in up here either. So I just kind of slowly DCA down as it comes down in price. Okay, so KWeb, this is the one that we do as an added bonus. This is for the CLIP ETF. As you guys can see, the RSI and the MACD look very bullish. The MACD histogram is green. We were talking about this as it was in the support zone, saying, hey guys, this thing could reverse and start moonshotting any day now. So we got the golden cross on the MACD and the RSI. And keep in mind, CLIP and KWeb, these are based on the Chinese economy. Okay, this is not American stocks. But this decade-long support here, every time we hit it, we had a massive rip to the upside. As you guys can see, every single time we had some kind of big pump. So as of right now, it does look like we're getting ready to get a golden cross, which again, if I go back in time here, the last time we got one of these was way back here in 2019. So, and we are much lower. The price has been shot down quite a bit more than it was back here from this swing high to this swing low. So that's a setup for an even more bullish move up. Again, the target of this falling wedge is going to be the basically pretty much right up here at this previous candle swing high. So about $35.96. So based on this, KWeb and CLIP have quite a bit more room to run up. And that would be roughly about another 13% before potentially getting temporarily stopped. Now, as to where the ultimate swing high could be, I have no idea, guys. I mean, we just take this day by day. So, anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.